Hey guys, and welcome to another YouTube video. Today I have an amazing guest, Michael. Welcome, Michael. I hope I say your name right. Is it right, Michael?
That's right. You said it
Okay.
perfectly.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, he had an impressive transformation healing story with raw food and choosing, and I can't wait to learn more about your story. How's it going, Michael?
Good. So, how it started for me, the whole health journey, was that I used to have autism. That's something I don't mention on my website, and I don't mention a lot. And I fixed it with change of diet, fermented food in moderation, and a fully raw food diet. So, how it started was, you know how a lot of times with the autism, it starts with the vaccines. So, especially if you're A plus blood type, you're more susceptible to the vaccines, which I am. So it was a combination of vaccines and antibiotics right after birth that gave me the autism. And then back in fifth grade, through homeopathic solutions, like homeopathic chelation to get the heavy metals out, I was back to normal. And then to enter middle school, I had to have a vaccine to enter middle school, and I regressed again and got the autism again. And so throughout middle school, I was bullied because I was talking to myself, hugging trees, looking at the floor, not making eye contact. I wouldn't hug people. So I was bullied through all of middle school, and I was put on psychiatric drugs, which made all those problems a lot worse. So that's proof the psychiatric drugs don't work. That's why you always want holistic. The synthetic stuff never works. And it got so bad that I was literally telling my mom it was killing me. So she took me off the psychiatric drugs. And also I was, eating, food that was really bad for me. I was eating pizza, ice cream. So my face was full of pimples and acne. And then my sister had read back when I was in 10th grade in 2010 that gluten-free, casein-free is very important for people with autism. So I went gluten-free, casein-free. And then my mom also cut out all the starches, all the grains.
Can you explain what is casein for some people? I think it's just in dairy products.
So casein is cheese, dairy,
Yeah.
anything with that has to do with that. And so once I went gluten-free, casein-free, no starches, no grains, no oils, my face cleared up, the pimples and acne went away. So if someone has pimples and acne, it's very important to cut out, anything with cheese, dairy, gluten, starches, oils, grains. All those are really bad for the face. Like if you look at people who eat lots of starches and grains, they end up getting, face that's full of like acne or pimples.
Yeah.
That's what
And
it
the
does.
dairy, especially, the dairy is horrible
the
because
dairy
of the
too.
hormones also.
Anything with mucus in it is going to be bad for the face. So like dairy, starches, they're very mucus forming. So is the dairy, the cheese.
Yeah.
So that's how it started. And then a year later, I happened by chance to discover a book by Dr. Norman Walker called Raw Fruits and Vegetable Juices, What's Missing in Your Body. And he was curing people of all their diseases and problems with a raw food diet with lots of fresh fruits and vegetables and lots of fresh juices each day. And he has juices for each disease in that book. And that's what got me started on raw food. But
Okay. And
before that, I went
how old were you? How old were you when you discovered this book?
I was 18.
Okay, still very young.
Back in 2011.
Okay.
And so basically what got me started on that book was before I found that book, I had started going to health food conferences and health food stores. And what I discovered was after going gluten-free and casein-free kind of like opened my brain up, right? Got me to start looking into things more. And so I started doing fermented food in moderation, fermented coconut and fermented coconut water. And that was very good for the gut, but fermented food has to be in moderation because it's acidic.
Yeah.
Anything acidic in excess will cause a problem. And so once I started doing that, like my autism symptoms already improved all the way. All the problems that were still left was I couldn't really maintain eye contact with people all the way. I couldn't hug people, but so I started the fermented food, that improved a lot. And then with the raw food, it got fixed all the way and I was back to normal. So that's kind of my story. Because the fermented coconut water is really good for the gut. All problems start in the gut. That's where all disease and problems starts. You fix the gut, you fix everything.
Yeah, that's true.
And so what got me started on all that was first, I fixed my eyesight. So back in 2010, I was subscribed to drmercola.com, which is a natural health newsletter. And he happened to be selling eyesight CDs from someone called Greg Marsh, who is a natural vision coach. And I was desperate to fix my vision because I had these big bifocal glasses, which made me look like a nerd in school. I didn't want to be wearing these big bifocal glasses on my eyes. So I was like, you know what? Even though I'm skeptical, anything that can fix my eyesight, I'm willing to do it. Because I had 20/70 vision. Now it's 20/15. So for several months, every day I did these eyesight exercises for several hours each day to fix my vision. I went from 20/70 to 20/20. And the idea is, so there was an ophthalmologist named Dr. Bates. And if you Google the Dr. Bates method, you can find all about it. And then the website of the natural vision coach I got the eyesight CDs from to fix my vision is bettereyesightnow.org. And basically, Dr. Bates was an ophthalmologist based in New York City who found out that all the eyesight problems was due to strain on the eyes from staring. And he would observe that people with perfect eyesight were blinking and scanning, every 2 to 3 seconds without realizing it. And people without perfect eyesight were not. And what got him into this is he discovered one day one of his patients had lost their glasses and their vision improved a little bit because the glasses force you to stare in one direction. If you think about it, if you force yourself to stare long enough in one direction, you notice it puts strain on the eyes. So that's what causes the eyesight problems. And that's why a lot of times it starts in the schools, because he would discover a lot of times, would start at an early age when they were in the school because they forced you to stare at the blackboard.
Yeah.
And then he would go to the park and observe the children were always moving around while the parents were staring, straight ahead, kind of rigid, So that's the idea behind it. It's different exercises to relieve strain around the eyes. And he would go into all the classrooms in New York City and fix people with all their eyesight problems with his natural vision improvement techniques. But what happened and why it's not so popular today is after he died, because his wife was not an ophthalmologist, the ophthalmology boards got together to ban it in New York City. And to this day, it's illegal to practice the Dr. Bates method in New York City because it was a threat to the eyeglass industry because they make billions of dollars every year, off of selling glasses. And if you think about it, the glasses don't work because it's a crutch, right? You have to wear them your whole life. So it's not doing anything.
Yeah.
So this whole thing doesn't make sense. It's the same as with the psychiatric drugs. It's an industry. And one of the techniques and what's so great about the Dr. Bates method is sunning. So it gets you to do sunning every day. And so the idea is you kind of lay down on a chair, you close your eyes, and then you let the sun hit the closed eyelids to relax the strain around the eyes. So you kind of lay down and point the head directly at the sun with the eyes closed, otherwise it's going to damage the eyes. And let that sun hit the closed eyelids for about 30, 40 minutes every day. Okay. And then you get the vitamin D in, which is great because the studies have shown that in places where you don't get the sun for the majority of the year, people become vitamin D deficient. I mean, not just vitamin D deficient, but also they get depression, right? Because the vitamin D is so important. It's very relaxing. I always feel my most relaxed I do during the day after I go outside and sun.
Yeah, I think we all experience this. Yeah. But can you explain why supplements are not the same? Because I think you don't take supplements, or? No. Okay. Yeah.
The supplements are not the same because it's synthetic. It's isolated substance and the body doesn't recognize it. And actually the vitamin D supplements stop your body from getting the vitamin D from the sun. And so do the sunglasses and the sunscreen. And the sunscreen is toxic. I never understand why people want to bathe toxic substances all over their skin. Yeah. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then there's also other aspects for eyesight, like blue light is bad for the eyes. And so is the LED light. What the eyes need is the full spectrum lighting. That's why the sun is so good for the eyes. And then incandescent, which is kind of similar to that, is good. And halogen. So in the house, it's very important to have all incandescent and halogen if you can. And then also you can get non-blue light, non-flicker, full spectrum lighting. You can put next to your room. Or can put in one part of the room because those are a little more expensive. And then ideally it's best to have just natural sunlight from outside during the day. So that's what I do. Right now, I don't have any lighting in my room. It's just the sunlight from outside.
Yeah.
And then at night, having the incandescent or the halogen, and then blue light blocking glasses for the blue light. And then also having a physical blue light shield on the computer to block out the blue light all the way. And then eye flux, which you can put on the computer to reduce the blue light, doesn't eliminate though. And for the physical blue light shield, I recommend ipc.com. They sell really good blue light shields that my friend uses, Melissa Hayes.
You can put the links below this video afterwards.
Okay. And then also I would recommend Ray Optics. They're a company that does blue light blocking glasses that blocks out the blue light all the way. And how I know is my friend, Melissa, she has a way of testing using lasers and other methods to test if something works for getting rid of the blue light. And she used it to test those blue light shield that she has on her computer also. And then also I would say minimizing the phone usage is important too for the eyes, because small screens are really bad for the eyes. So better to mostly use like the computer to look at stuff.
Okay.
And then for the phones though, I think they have, when I've learned, naturally have like blue light filters on them. So for the phones, I don't think that's actually necessary for like something similar to eye flux. So that's one good thing. And then also another thing is it's important to not have blue light while you sleep, because it interferes with your sleep and stops you from getting the melatonin while you sleep. And then also making sure like the phone is in airplane mode, anything with EMF while you sleep, especially, because that will disrupt the sleep, disrupt the quality of the sleep. I'm going to talk about the importance of sleep. So my friend Melissa, she goes to bed early every day and gets up early every day to catch the morning sun. And when you get the morning sun every day, that actually helps you fall asleep more easily at night. And it's very important. And she's like very kind of like happy all the time, right? Like she radiates happiness all the time. She smiles a lot. I've never seen her get angry. I've known her for the past couple of months.
Beautiful.
I think it's because she goes to bed early and gets up early every day. And that's why everybody should go to bed early and get up early every day, so they can get happy and positive. That's my approach. Anyways, I thought it was important to say. And then the importance of minimizing EMF, from my own experience, is, you know how if you eat something that's bad for you, you notice what it does to the body if you haven't been doing it every day. Like, let's say you haven't had it for years, you instantly recognize the negative effects. So it's the same with EMF. So for me, I minimize EMF. I use Ethernet. I don't have Wi-Fi, and then I just keep the phone in airplane mode. And because of that, if I use the phone, like let's say even for 10 or 20 minutes outside of airplane mode from a smartphone, which is higher in EMF, I don't notice that from a non-smartphone, but then I'll instantly feel sick until I put it back in airplane mode, because I haven't done it for years. So my friend, she explains on her website, and it's really good, reclaimwellness.org, how by minimizing the wireless radiation exposure, she healed herself of different problems. Like she explained to me recently, she had had insomnia for years, which was fixed just within 6 months of minimizing her wireless radiation exposure. And then she also had her hair was falling out, that got fixed within 6 months and grew back just by minimizing the wireless radiation exposure. So it's something that's important. It's not often talked about, like everything together, diet, EMF, everything, and sleep and sun is all important.
It's so important that you mentioned that, because most people, they focus on diet only, food, but there are so many other components that contribute to holistic health. So it's really important. Thank you.
And she also on there, it's really well done, because she has before and after photos showing how her hair was falling out, how it came back, how she had like infections and rashes and problems on her hands and fingers. And then she also has documented lots of good links on all the health effects, negative, of EMF. And actually, if I pull it up, I mean, I didn't memorize everything on there. So would it be okay if I just read something briefly from her website?
Sure. Go ahead.
So she explains, she has photos of electromagnetic radiation syndrome. She shows how she has her diseased hand in these photos is the hand in which held my cell phone and wireless mouse for excessive hours each day. This is also my non-dominant hand, which puzzled doctors for years, as it did not follow the typical pattern of inflammation being worse on one's dominant hand. As you can see from the photos, the 4th and 5th digits of my non-dominant hand were the most diseased and inflamed. These are the fingers I would balance the bottom portion of my cell phone upon while reading in bed for hours each day. The more my health deteriorated, the more I used my cell phone as a source of information and connection. This is sadly common. I never considered the health effects of wireless radio frequency radiation. Update: within 6 months of reducing exposure to wireless radiation, my hands, skin, rashes, nails, and recurrent staph infections healed for the first time in years. My hair began to grow back, my spirit brightened, the anxiety, insomnia, nightmares, and heart palpitations resolved on their own. My sensory processing disorder improved significantly. Being neurodivergent is no longer a feat, it's now a strength. Over the next 2 years, my chronic health conditions, including IBD and POTS, went into remission. My cat showed improvements as well, both behaviorally and physically. She became more playful, less aggressive. Her fur thickened and her sleep regulated. She purrs far more frequently and her distress tolerance increased. So that's kind of an example of what EMF can do to people.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's really impressive.
Yeah.
And did she change something else or just reducing the EMF? Like with diet or also choosing?
No, she tried doing diet change and different things at first, and nothing worked until she minimized the EMF. Mm-hmm. So sometimes you have to do that factor also, not just diet change.
It's just a missing part, and people don't know about it. Yeah, so important.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So is there a way to put the link to her website in the...
absolutely.
Yeah, so I think she would be like the best person to talk on EMF, because she's had, much more of an experience than me, as you can see from her website. So she'd be like the perfect person to interview on this.
Yeah. Okay. So you got rid of your brain fog, basically, your autism, chronic fatigue. And then you started choosing, like with a choose fast, long extended choose fast, or did you just implement it into your daily meal plan, or how was that?
So how it worked is, first I started with some juice and then I increased to, more and more. Mm-hmm. But I also have done juice fasting in the past, up to 6 months straight of juice fasting.
Ooh.
And so my body was, been very clean for years because of that.
Yeah.
I did that several years ago. And as a result, so I've been mostly raw. I've been, let's say, almost fully raw for the past 14 years, except there was one period 2 years ago, back in 2024. And that's how I got all those problems. I fixed myself up by going back to raw. Is how sometimes you can go off the bandwagon. So for several months,
but immediately your body tells you, no, that's not the way.
Yeah. So for almost eight months, back from July of 2023 to mid-March of 2024, I was just eating whatever because I had parasites. I had to do a parasite cleanse to get back to normal. And after doing that parasite cleanse 2 years ago, had no cravings for anything for the past 2 years. And I fixed myself with candida also. When the body, it's like with the EMF, the body is very clean. If for many years you've been doing the right thing, if you put the wrong food in, you immediately get health problems right away, because your body mainly recognizes it as a toxin. So it started with eating the worst thing I could eat, which was potato chips. And I got deep vein thrombosis right away, like day one. Right?
Wow.
And then I was overdoing on the fats. Like I was doing 10 avocados every day. I was overdoing on nuts and seeds.
Really?
Yeah. Overdoing on nuts and seeds. I was doing the cooked starches, all the stuff I knew I shouldn't do. I was doing chocolates and cheeses. And it's because I had parasites. Because as soon as I did the parasite cleanse, all that stopped. And when I was doing the cooked starches, I would gain 10 pounds in 10 days. That's how I got, the 30 pounds I had to lose. I ended up getting a little bit of excess weight. I gained lots of weight within those several months very fast. And especially when I was overdoing on the fats. So when you overdo on fats, you gain weight very fast. Yeah. And then I was reading a book at the time by the medical medium called Liver Rescue, where it explained the symptoms of a stagnant, sluggish liver, which you get from doing too much fat, which I was doing at the time, is severe brain fog. And another thing is, if you think about it, fat should be in moderation, because the fat, if you notice, it's it feels heavy on the body. That's because it's impacting the liver. So if you don't do the fat in moderation, you eventually will destroy the liver. And then also the fat you eat is the fat you wear, right? Too much fat makes you gain weight. And so if you want to gain weight, it's better not to do it with the fat, since too much fat destroys the liver. It's better to do it with the dense fruits. So you want to gain weight, more dense fruits. You want to lose weight, a lot less of that. Yeah. Because after I lost the weight that I needed to lose, when I started to
Mhm.
regain the weight, I was, up in the bananas. So right now I do 20 bananas per day, but the weight stays the same. But when I needed to gain some weight, I gained some weight from it after
Mhm.
losing the weight I needed to lose. And when I was So first I did a parasite cleanse back in mid-March called Para Detox from Athrea herbs, which is from my former Ayurvedic doctor from when I used to live in California.
Mhm.
Now I live in Arizona and like to call it the Wild West, but it's a joke. So this parasite cleanse from Athrea herbs is really good because not only does it do natural toxin removal, it has herbs in it for optimal gut health,
Mhm.
and it kills the parasites. Because literally the first day I started doing it, I lost the desire to do any of these things I was doing. And since then, no cravings for anything anymore. And it helps me stick to what I do, which is I mainly just eat fruits for the past 2 years.
And do you know where you got parasites from?
I'm not sure, but
Not sure.
I also know I had candida. I've been tested for that, and very
Mhm.
strong sugar cravings, right? Because I was going for the chocolates.
Mhm.
And as soon as I did that, all those cravings disappeared, that parasite cleanse. And then at the time, I was doing only 5 bananas and 4 grapefruits because when you want to lose weight, and
Mhm.
then no fats, because when you want to heal yourself, you can't have the fats or the
Yeah.
salt. Whenever I would have anything with fat or salt in it, my problem with my legs would get a lot worse, the
Mhm.
deep vein thrombosis. And the salt does water retention,
Yeah.
like,
And
and it
dehydrates.
dehydrates a lot.
Yeah,
So it's
exactly.
better to get it from the organic source, which is celery. And celery is actually very high in iron, very high in magnesium, and it binds and removes the heavy metals and toxins from the body, the sodium cluster salts in it. And
Mhm.
actually the brain runs on the trace mineral salts from the organic form from the celery, and the glucose from the fruits.
Mhm.
And so not only does that, but also binds and removes, heavy metals from the body and toxins, and it removes the poor quality salts from the inorganic sources from the body. You
Mhm.
want, the organic sources for the salt, and one of the best sources is celery juice. And the celery juice, it raises the hydrochloric acid levels in the stomach, so it helps you digest and absorb the food you eat better.
Mhm.
Like, for instance, my mom, as an example, recently she had been doing 4 cups of celery juice for a while, then she stopped at 2 cups, then restarted with 4 cups, and she knows she's digesting everything she eats better. And I noticed that for myself also.
Mhm.
As an example that what the medical medium says on that is
Yeah.
completely true. And it's best to take it first thing in the morning, like, on an empty stomach, the
Mhm.
celery juice and by itself. And it's also good for killing parasites from what I've read. And I think that might be part of the reason my parasite cleanse works so well. Because I was doing that while doing it. I've been
Okay.
doing straight celery juice for the past 2 years now.
So you did celery juice, you did a parasite cleanse at the same time. You
Yeah.
started both,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
how
And
long?
so
You
yeah.
still do the celery juice, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So, well, the celeries I kind of was already doing, but not as much. I've been doing 2 cups, but I've been doing 4 cups since then.
Mm.
And so the parasite cleanse, part of the reason it works so well is I had nothing to feed the parasites because I was getting that full colon out each day while doing it.
Mm.
And I was having nothing with mucus and nothing acidic because parasites thrive on the waste matter in the colon, the acidity, and the mucus forming food. And I was only having fruits. And I think that's why it works so well, and not having anything for them to thrive on,
Yeah.
from what I've read and researched on that since my own experience. And also, I was
Sorry,
doing,
can you touch on candida and fruit sugar? Because I know
yeah,
people will ask.
yeah, I was going to go into that next, actually.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah.
So once I upped the fruit, and well, let's first go into how I healed myself.
Mhm.
So I did fresh grapefruits every day for 2.5 months, and the 5 bananas while
You
doing
just
that
ate them
parasite
or
cleanse.
also choose the grapefruits? Or you just
Oh,
ate them?
the grapefruits, I just ate them. So it
Okay.
was just 4 grapefruits like that and
Mhm.
5 bananas. And after 2.5 months of doing that, the deep vein thrombosis my legs went back to normal because the grapefruits thin the blood. They're a natural blood thinner. So a lot of times
Mhm.
people go to the doctors, and get these drugs,
Yeah.
and then they'll tell them they can't take grapefruits because they're on these drugs. Like when I
Yeah,
tell people you
true.
can
I heard
take
that. Yeah.
Yeah, when I tell people, oh, you can just take grapefruits. This is what it did for me. They say, oh, no, my doctor says I cannot eat grapefruits because this can
Yeah.
interfere with my drugs. So I think to myself, stop your drugs, eat the grapefruits. The drugs have
Hmm.
side effects. They're killing you. But I
Yeah.
can't say that to people. They would get really angry. I've tried that before. You know what happens?
We'll say
They
it
get
here on
really angry
YouTube.
and they never talk to me again. They say, Michael, I do not want to talk to you again. You're
Yeah.
upsetting me. So you have to be careful around those people.
Yeah, you
But
really
my
have
friend on a lot of stuff. So after doing 4 grapefruits and
to.
5 bananas, let's go. I got sidetracked already.
Yeah.
Every day for 2.5 months, not only did the legs get fixed, but the severe brain fog, went away. The mind became very sharp, sharper than it's ever been before. The severe chronic fatigue went away. Now I have very high amounts of, energy all day long. The candida went away and my gut fixed itself because within actually the first couple of days of switching to just the fruits and the juices.
So
My
you
gut
ate
was
nothing else during these 2 months? Just 4 grapefruits and like 5 bananas? And nothing
mhm.
else the whole day?
No, I have juices. So the juices and the fruits. So basically almost a gallon of juices every day, and I still do that.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, and that's why I was able to stick to eating less. So you want to drink more and eat less when you're trying to lose weight
Yeah,
and
okay.
enjoy
Makes
yourself, from
sense
my
now.
own
Yeah.
experience.
Hmm.
And so I lost 30 pounds in 2.5 months by doing all this and fixed myself of all my problems and fixed the gut.
Hmm.
And so the gut was so bad I couldn't poop on my own anymore, right? And I fixed it to where I was getting that full colon each day, literally within the first couple of days of doing the juices and the fruits and the parasite cleanse. And I was taking 2 capsules of this every morning and every night for 2.5 months. And so the juices I was taking when I was healing myself was 4 cups of straight celery juice, which I still take now, and then 6 cups of orange juice with 1 inch of turmeric and ginger, and 2 cups of fermented coconut water, and also half of a 5-pound bag of carrots with one big beet, big red beet, one big cucumber, and one bunch of spinach. And spinach is full of magnesium. Cucumbers are really good for the nails, and they stop the nails and the hair from falling
Okay.
out.
Yeah.
And that's actually explained in the fresh fruit and vegetable juice book on the cucumber.
Hmm.
And the carrots are very high in calcium, and they're also very high in beta carotene and vitamin A. So they're really good for boosting the vision. I got my eyesight from 2020 to 2015 with carrot juice. I've been
That's
doing carrot juice for years. And so that's why my nails are not brittle. So you see they have no problems because I've been doing cucumbers for years. It's very good for the strong nails.
Yeah, I love.
And
I think I eat 4 to 5 cucumbers every day, like in
oh,
juices
that's
and
great.
in salads. Yeah, I love them.
But anyway, so if you drink more, it's easier to eat less. So when you're trying to lose weight, that's really important. And stick to what everyone is trying to do. But also for the coconut water, when it's fermented, the reason I only do 2 cups is because it's acidic. The acidic stuff has to be in moderation. And a good example of that is my mom. She at one time had a problem with her shoulder where her shoulder was hurting a lot. Like she had incredible pain in her shoulder that would not stop. No matter what she would do, she would see different people. She would go for massage for it, chiropractic, until she reduced the fermented food. So what happened is at the time she was eating just 1 cup of sauerkraut. That's all it took
Yeah.
because it's acidic, so you need to moderate it. And then she went to a place called the Ann Wigmore Institute in Puerto Rico. So she's another raw foodist who was a big advocate of having lots of greens and sprouts. And there's an institute called the Ann Wigmore Institute in Puerto Rico that she went to at the time when she had this problem with her shoulder, because she was trying to figure out what was wrong. And they told her that she was having too much fermented food when she told them what she was doing.
Yeah,
And
I
they
think
said that she
they
had,
are big there on the fermented foods and also sprouts and maybe more fats in this institute, maybe. Like
no,
how's this
they're for moderating the fermented food from what they told her and keeping the fats in moderation. But they're
Okay.
big on the greens. They're big on doing large amounts of
Sprouts,
greens and sprouts.
wheatgrass juice, I think.
Yeah, that
These
too.
things. Okay, yeah.
And so she went there, and within 3 days of just having lots of greens and sprouts and keeping the fermented food to a bare minimum, like not a lot, hardly any, in moderation, still enough like to help the gut, but not too
Yeah.
much. Her problem with the shoulder fixed itself, and it hasn't come back since. And that was several years ago. And they told her what the reason was, and they said she just needed to alkalize the body, and she did that, and it fixed itself. So like that's kind of proof of that, I think. And what I think is when it's alkaline, you can have more of it, but when it's acidic, you have to moderate it. So like all greens, all sprouts are alkaline, all ripe fruits are alkaline. So that's good to have. You can have as much fruits as you want. A lot of people say fruit sugar, you can't have fruits, but the reason people get candida, get cravings for chocolate, which I had for a time, is because they don't eat enough fruits. At the time, I was eating hardly any fruits. I was just doing lots and lots of greens and sprouts and raw vegetables, stuff like that. But I wasn't being careful of the fruit, making sure I had enough fruits. Because since then, I also upped the intake of fruits. I now do 20 bananas a day. And my mind got even sharper to the point where it's, very, very sharp. It increased a lot, the brain power, just by upping the increase of fruits. So that's proof that the brain runs on the fruits, not the fats, like they tell you. And what I've learned since then from the medical medium, that the reason people get like cravings for chocolates, which I had for a time, and candida, is they don't get enough of the natural sugars from the fruits. So then they crave the chocolate and other forms of sugar.
When they're searching for calories and something dense to make up for the lack of fruit. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.